Can you hear me, Jenny? Hello, everybody. Can anybody hear me? Hello, everybody. Can anybody hear me? Hello, everybody. Hi, Irene. Can anybody hear me? Hi, Patrick. Hi, Andrew. Hi, Gerard. Irene. Thank you all for acknowledging. Salish. Hi, Salish and Karen. That's good. So, Jen, I've turned my phone off, so the feedback should have gone now. So, can anybody hear any feedback, or are we good? That's good. So, also, you'll be looking at a screen where you can see the welcome page, and it looks a little bit strange, but apparently this is the best way to share a screen. So rather than filling the whole screen with the slideshow presentation, that's how it's going to look. So hopefully you can see it. So Caroline, the best browser is probably Chrome, Google Chrome. If you do get problems, refresh your screen and it should come back on again. And also, in this webinar, we're doing something very, very different in that everything's completely live. Now, you'll probably remember that the first time we did this, there was all sorts of problems with buffering and slowness. So we're taking a little bit of a risk tonight. But the reason for doing so is, well, as you know from what I've said before, to do a pre-recorded video can take 30 or 40 hours to do. And really, all you're doing is just seeing a video, a pre-recorded video. So although you can do a chat window and you can make comments, it was very much just like watching a program with not much interaction. And what I wanted this time was for all of you to get involved in the presentation. That's the idea of a webinar. I could just send you a link to a video. So this time, hopefully, you'll be able to get a lot more involved. So please use the chat window as you are doing. Please ask questions. Please ask things even that we're not necessarily discussing, because we can discuss it another time, or if it's appropriate, we can discuss it here and now. Now, what also you can do is, I think you can be able to see in the chat window, there's a little hand, and you can actually come in and speak as well. So Jenny is down as a presenter. I think she's logged in okay. Jenny, are you able to say anything, Jenny? Jenny's not able to speak at the moment, so hopefully we won't need her and we can rely on the chat window. But if you suddenly get your sound on, Jenny, just speak out. So what we'll be looking at today, well, we're going to be looking at a brand new Bioresonance TV channel that we've just launched. So I think you'll find that quite exciting. We'll do a little presentation for that. Then we're going to be looking at what makes a great therapist. So because we're the distributors really of the BICOM and we deal with a lot of therapists, we also get a lot of feedback from customers, sometimes from patients. And they tend to say things like, oh, well, I don't want to go back to that one because they didn't say this, or they didn't say that. They didn't talk to me much. I didn't know what was happening. I didn't feel anything after the therapy, things like that. So we're able to give that feedback. So we'll look at that, what makes a great therapist. We'll look at protecting yourself as well, both from a legal point of view, people saying things that they maybe shouldn't, or getting the wrong idea of things that you say to them. And we're going to be looking at protecting the patient, of course. And then we're going to be looking at the basics. Now, there's quite a few on tonight who have just got new machines themselves. So we're going to cover very quickly what we'll be covering in the online courses. But what you do as soon as you get your machine, what programs you run. Now, this is important because for everybody, because we do get calls occasionally from therapists that say, well, I've done all the training courses, I've been using the machine, but I'm not getting the results that I was hoping to do, or that I used to get. So the idea of going back to basics sometimes is important, because we run the same protocol in our clinic all the time and get great results. We don't deviate too much from that model, so we're going to go through that. Then we're going to look at the B34 systematics. Now, if you've not got a B34, that's the very latest machine. Don't worry, because we're showing you the programs that you can use to create your own program sequences. So now I'm going to try and just play this little presentation for the TV intro. So let's see that if this plays without knocking off my screen sharing. So that video is not playing, is it? So let me try something else. Bear with us here, as you can see. We've not been able to play that video. So let me see if I can get the video up on the Vimeo channel and see if I can share that with you. Do it this way. And we'll now go share screen again, entire screen, and here we go. Oh, we see Jenny's there now. So we'll go back to the main window, because that didn't work too well. There we go, the first hiccup with trying to go live and play a video that we've never had a problem with up to now. But all you need to do is, if you just go to bioresonance.tv, you've got a channel there. Now, what we've got in Bioresonance TV, we've got introductory videos, we've got testimonials, so testimonials from people that have had bioresonance therapy. Some of you will be on there because we've put a lot of the historic things on as well. We've also got the course videos. So if you take a course and the training website, all the training videos for that particular course are on the Bioresonance TV as well, for those that have taken the course. So that's really, really useful, because if you just want to re-watch the videos, the instructional videos, then they're there on the Bioresonance TV. On there also, we've got informative ones. So the videos that we've done on cancer, the ones that we've done on candida and parasites, and the Raymond Rife story, the Lyme disease interviews that we did, they're all on Bioresonance TV. Also, we've got third-party videos, so videos that we've not done, but videos that maybe discuss water and energy. And we've got the one we did last month on electromagnetic frequencies. We've got the entire video on there. So that's free for gold members. If you're not a gold member, then you can register, and some of the videos are free anyway. So please bookmark that site, bioresonance.tv. You do need to register to see anything on there, but you'll be prompted to do so when you click on one of the videos. So that's quite exciting. We're looking forward to doing that. Now, we have got a request for you. We would like you to be able to suggest videos that you think should be on there. So if you've got a favorite video or something that helped you understand bioresonance a little bit more, then please let us know, and we'll have a word with the people who created the film to see if we can add it to Bioresonance TV. So now let's look at the next slide. I think we've covered everything on that. Yeah, we're going to be constantly adding new content, new videos that were created will be added to that. And of course, the more training videos that are added will add to that as well. Okay, so now let's go back to what makes a great therapist. So again, this is where I would like your comments, please. So, what do you think makes a good therapist? Well, we've just outlined some of the points, and I've also printed off quite a lot of documentation from the standard, the entry online course. So there's a huge amount of information here on what we go through, on what makes such a good therapist. So over the years, we've had a good reputation caring for patients, but it's essential in your business that your patients feel tenderly cared for. Often the case is that people come to see us, and you'll have found this. People come to see us when they've exhausted all other opportunities. So they're usually very upset, they're quite desperate, they may have exhausted all the savings, looking for a potential diagnosis or a treatment. So we need to really act as almost as a counsellor as well. You probably find that yourself. So we do need to have a listening ear, and we need to be able to sit down with people and reassure them. But by doing that, we don't make false claims either. We've got to be very careful that we don't say we're diagnosing. You may even avoid saying things like we do treatment. We might want to call it therapy. So there's a lot of things that we want to do to not be accused of taking advantage of somebody that's in an emotional state. We know that we can really help people, and we're very cautious. We just say things like, look, we will come for a test, come for a treatment, and if you want to come back, then that's great. But we never push somebody into doing it. We have heard stories of therapists that have, certain therapists have said, oh, we've found a parasite, but we'll get rid of it. And then maybe next week they'll say, oh yeah, we've got rid of it. And it's a bit of a sales tactic, that. And how can you prove anyway that they had a certain parasite? How can you prove that you've got rid of it? So we do have to be careful. We want to be very professional and be able to back up things that we've said to them as well. Jen's saying that you cannot say therapy in the United States or treatment, but we can use words like session. So yeah, that's good. Thanks for that, Jen. So anybody else, things that they've learned not to say to a patient, please put that there. So also we find that because people don't know about bioresonance, they've done a lot of research maybe online, so they may know a lot about us already if we've got an online presence. So the thing is, have we got a good online presence? Do we have a website that doesn't have to be complex? We can just explain very briefly what bioresonance is, how we can help people. It might have prices on there. It might have a booking system. It might have a patient questionnaire on there. So have we got that? Well, if you know, as you know, we're trying to help you to have an online presence and a professional one. So, and quite a number now. I think Josh may have done at least 10 different bioresonance sites now for BICOM owners. So just get in touch with us if you want that doing. So a telephone number, of course. People need to be able to ring. We find a lot of people want to ring, discuss the problems first, see if we can help them, and the more doing the research, really. So if you're busy, if you're running a busy clinic and you haven't got time to answer the phone, then we use a paid answer service. We use a company called answer.co.uk, and it costs about £1 every time somebody rings. But every time somebody rings, the phone answers with, "Hello, this is Resonate. How can I help you?" And then they can leave a message. And then as soon as the message has been read, it gets sent straight to us, so we can ring people straight back, which is good. So if we've got business premises or if we're working from home, those places need to be clean, presentable, and make people feel like they're coming for a special treatment. That's quite important. So we don't have to be lavish or spend a lot of money, but if we're working from home, are the pets running around or kids running around? Is it clean and tidy? Do people feel like they're sat in a bit of a clinic, or do they feel like they're sat in your front room? That's quite an important thing to do. Now, our business premise, so we need to stick to the appointment time as well. Often if we're very caring and we want to really help people, we might not want to rush them out of the door, and that's understandable. But if we've asked somebody to come at 2 o'clock and we're not clearing the room till 2:10 or 2:15, then that's so unprofessional, and the people next time will think, well, I didn't get in till 2:15, so I'm not going to rush. I'll get there at 2:10. So we can be our own worst enemies, really. So stick exactly to the times that you've said. People shouldn't be waiting longer than 5 minutes, really. Take plenty of notes. This is a requirement for your insurance. So we'll look at this when we come to protecting yourself, but it's important to take notes and record what's going on for insurance purposes. Now, do you fully explain how bioresonance works? So when people come for the first appointment, you've got an hour really where people are sat in the chair just having treatment, and you need to talk to them. What do you talk to them about? Well, we talk about how bioresonance works, how cells communicate in the body, the recent research that came out in 2015 about how bacteria communicate in the body and how interrupting those signals can cause different things to happen in the body. We did a long discussion, didn't we, on the Schumann resonance in one of the webinars. Did discuss the Schumann resonance with people and how that helps, and we need to be able to explain that confidently so people are impressed, they feel reassured that we know what we're talking about, and that's important. So if you've not done that yet, I'd recommend that you even really write down a script of what you're going to say and just use them as prompts in your first few therapy sessions so that you're able to get that message across clearly and accurately. So hopefully that will help you. So what about protecting yourself? Well, having correct insurance and complying with the terms. Now, this is where some people can get a bit stuck, because you can quite easily get bioresonance insurance. And if you already had some sort of therapy insurance, it's not going to cost you much more money, if anything, to have bioresonance, because it's seen as a very low risk. But one of the insurance companies said to me that that's the case, but if there's ever a claim, that's when it's investigated as to whether you've complied with the terms. So it's important that you know what those terms are. We've set up a block policy for bioresonance therapists with Valence, and they've given us what those terms are. One of them includes that we take an accurate questionnaire before the patient has therapy. We record the therapy sessions, as in what treatment we gave them, and then when they leave, did we advise anything like dietary changes, or did we suggest any herbal remedies or something like that? So we need to write that down as well. So how can we make that flow a lot smoother? Well, we've explained the online questionnaires that we use on the website. They're sent to you in a PDF form from your website. So you've got the PDF for that. Then you can print off from the pilot and the programs that you ran, and they can go with the notes if you wanted to print them off. Or if you're backing up your pilot, then you've got those records there anyway. And then you might want to have handwritten notes on any suggestions that you've made at the end. So again, the chat's gone quiet. Is everybody doing that? Is everybody following those procedures with the patients? Then that's important. So also in your clinic, use the Regamed Protector or the GeoSafe or some other form of protection against electrosmog. That's important. You might feel that come 3 o'clock you start to become very tired. So do you put the DMI on, the Schumann generator? Do you give yourself a boost with that? Avoid having mobile phones in your clinic. Also, there's a great article in the white papers. It's called The Healthy Therapist Self-Treatment Option. So that's an article written by one of the therapists who gives some really good tips about how we can treat ourselves. So if you've got that, if you can see that link there, just go to the white papers, and if you just type in the search box healthy therapist, it will come up there with that particular article. So we'll now move on to the next slide. So now protecting the patient, this is the important thing, isn't it? So as Jen was saying there, to be very careful what you put online, and also what you can say you're doing. I'm a bit interested, Jen. You've said that the Department of Health can shut people down if they're not complying. And I'd just be interested to know whether if you do comply with everything, whether you're quite safe to practice bioresonance in the US, because I know different states can be different. So I'd be interested in knowing how you're getting on with that. So yeah, don't make claims like we're diagnosing. We talked about earlier about people that are desperate. They've spent probably a lot of money. They've seen many doctors. They've not had any answers. And it almost can become a quest to find a label for what it is that they're suffering with. So be aware that people are kind of latching onto everything you say, and they're looking for a word like Lyme disease or tumour or polio or vaccine damage or something, because they want to be able to go back to their doctor and say, look, what I've been saying was correct. I've got this, I've got that. So we've had phone calls from people, sometimes from hospitals that have said, we've got one of your patients here and they've said that you've said this, this and this. So you've got to be able to back up what you say. And we always say, all we're doing is a bioenergetic test and we're looking for resonance. If we find resonance, it means that your body wants that therapy at that time. That's all we can say. So don't get embroiled or into the trap of diagnosing or saying that you're successfully treating something. So I'm just reading Jen's comments as well. Yeah, obviously being careful what we put on websites, and laying low. I think that's generally what I've found with a lot of people, that if you start pushing yourself out there, making claims, that's when you start to get attention. Yeah, good. So always test the conductance value as well. Don't go rushing into doing a treatment without first testing a patient's conductance value. If their energies are down at 30 or 40 and you spend an hour inverting the things, they're going to be very ill after that. So be careful of that. Don't run treatments for longer than an hour. Don't fall into the trap of thinking that more is best. Patients want more. They think that if you do an hour and a half, it's going to be better than an hour for them. We need to explain why that's not the case. When we're running programs, regularly test with the Tensa or the EAP pen or kinesiology to see if the body's still wanting that particular program. Drink plenty of water and no alcohol or coffee on the day, as we say. And then always activate elimination organs, or certainly test whether those that elimination organs need doing. We'll discuss that a little bit in the basic therapy. So any comments there, anybody? Yeah. In the UK, we've got to be very careful with animals because we can't treat or even test or say we're diagnosing animals if we're not a veterinary surgeon. So if there is anybody out there in the UK doing animals, be very careful. It's a therapy that we're giving, that's all. So for those now that have got their own machines, this is just a reminder of the basics, and this applies to everybody as well. Don't forget the fundamentals. And we've always been taught from day one, or we should have been taught from day one, that the basic thing we do is a basic therapy. Now in the B34s, we've got extended basic therapies, which takes it really from if you've got an Optima, you'll be used to running 10 or 15 minute basic therapies. The extended therapies run for 20 minutes usually, so 20-minute basic therapy. So if their CV value is normal, if it's between 80 and 89, then we can run program sequence 10250. Now, if you've not got the B34, you can run that program sequence is program 3150, 150 and 156. If we've not got the Optima and we've got the 2000, then you've got those programs in there, the 150 and 156. And we showed you how to create a therapy list. So you can create your own program sequence in the pilot so that you can and have it set as CV 80 to 89, and you've added those basic therapies together. So if the CV value is 90 to 100, then we run program sequence 10251, and then you can see the others there, 3151, 151 and 157. If the CV value is 72 to 79, it's program sequence 10252, or that's split up into program 3152, 152 and 158. And if they're low on energy, then under 72, then it's program sequence 10255, which is made up of programs 3155, 155 and 159. While we're running the basic therapy, we need to test the substance complexes. So always run substance complexes whilst you're running the treatments, because there are so many good things that we can be doing. Even if it's just propolis in the external cup, run that, and there's other things that you can be running as well. So if the CV value between 90 and 100, what DMI would we be running? Well, we'd be bringing them down, wouldn't we? We'd be attenuating them. If they were under 72 or 72 to 79, what would we be doing? We'd be DMI and we'd be amplifying, wouldn't we? We'd be bringing them up. And of course, if you've got the new Optima Plus, you can do a little bit of up and a little bit of down. It flicks, so that's good. Sarah Rose says she always tests for excess therapy at the end of each session, so that's good as well. And of course, we can run excess therapy ourselves, can't we, on ourselves at the end of the day. So, 3 things there: extended basic therapies, the second channel, and the DMI. Those are the things that we need to be doing. So, we've got a question there from Roger. So Roger, the Optima software, all you can do with the Optima is you can buy extension modules 1 and extension modules 2. What extension modules 1 do is it brings you up to the 2014 basic therapies. So those are the extended basic therapies that run for about 15 minutes. So check your Optima. If you've not got the 2014 basic therapies, then you need to get that module. And also you can buy extension module 2, which has all the B34 substance complexes on. So there's hundreds of additional substance complexes. So you can be near to the new Optima, Roger, but not quite. So thanks for that question. Yeah, thanks for that question, Jen. You have to test the substance complexes before you start the basic therapy. So test the conductance value so that you know what basic therapy you're going to be running. And then before you run the program, test which substance complexes that you want to use. If you didn't want to if you didn't want to test all the substance complexes, you can do it symptom related or based on the testing that you might have done. So if you found Candida, for instance, then you could run the Candida substance complex. So we've done that. We've used our testing to decide what substance complex to run without actually testing it. Arthur, the Optima Plus is the new Optima that came out in 2016. So that's the Optima Plus. The Optima is the one that we've had for the last 10 years. So there's the Optima, then there's the new Optima Plus. But as I was saying to Roger, you can have extension modules to upgrade your Optima so it's near to the Optima Plus, but it's not quite that. But okay, everybody got that. So step 2. Step 1 was the basic therapies. Step 2 is after the basic therapy is we run the allergy preparation program sequence. So why would we run an allergy preparation? Well, the only reason we're running the allergy preparation allergy preparation program sequence is because it's got in it 2 programs that we always used to run. We used to run the scar interference and the geopathic stress. On the geopathic stress, we'd have to put the knob electrode on the navel, and on the geopathic stress program, we'd have to put the Goldfinger on the SP4A, the spleen point on the foot, wouldn't we? So that could be quite awkward to do, or newer therapists found it difficult. You'd have to say to people, take your shoes and socks off and kind of put this on your navel. But with the allergy preparation program sequence, you're doing those 2 programs, but you're just putting the left hand on the plate and you're putting a drop of blood in the input cup. That's the only difference. So they've been sat there for 20 minutes doing the basic therapy. All you do is move to program sequence 10314 and put a drop of blood in the input cup, and they stay there again for another 12 minutes. So that's a great program to speed up that that step 2. So thinking about it, you've got a good 20 minutes there at least where you're not having to worry about changing the programs. You can just quietly chat away to the customer. You're relaxing, the customer's relaxed, and you've run 2 very, very effective program sequences there for the majority of the therapy time there. So is everybody doing that? Is everybody doing those basic therapies and the geopathic stress and scars? Be interested to know whether you've deviated from that or whether you're still doing it. So after we've done steps 1 and 2, we now move on to step 3, which is the general detoxification. And we talked about opening the elimination organs, didn't we? So I just got a question coming here. So Gerard, can you explain why you find doing the conductance value test difficult? Are you doing the quadrants? So are you doing the 2 thumbs and the 2 toes and then dividing that figure by 4 to give you a conductance value? Or are you using the 2 cylindrical electrodes? So the best way to do the conductance value is 2 cylindrical electrodes. One of the cylindrical electrodes is connected to the blue cable, and the patient holds both of them with slightly damp hands. And then with the EAP pen, you touch the brass electrode that hasn't got the blue lead attached to it. Yeah, so Gerard, have you got the EAP pen, and can you do the conductance value using the brass cylinders? Yeah, that's a good point, Jenny. While you've got all that time running the first 2 steps, you can discuss with the patient more about their condition, do more questionnaires, that sort of thing. And as we said earlier, discussing things like the Schumann resonance and how bioresonance works and things. So step 3, just to clarify, is the general detoxification. This is important because if in the basic therapy and step 2, if the BICOM has found pathogenic signals and is inverting them, things could start dying off, and pathogens could start dying off. And if we haven't opened the elimination organs, then people can feel a bit sicker initially, at least. So general detoxification program sequence is 10046. That's made up of program 430.2, 480.1, and 930.3 for those with the Optima. You've got those. If you haven't got the Optima, then you have got program 430, 480, and 930. So everybody can do those, no problem. So Gerard saying, yeah, getting the right moisture on the hands and feet is probably a matter of practice. Yeah, but try, Gerard, with the brass cylinders for the conductance value. The quadrants is a little bit more accurate, but for the basic therapies, because you've got that wide range of between 80 and 89 conductance value, you don't need to be actually on the point. You can just use the 2 brass cylinders to test that your EAP is working correctly. Put the EAP pen on the electrode with the blue lead, and the dial should go around to 100. Then you move it to the other patient's hand and test there, and you'll notice that it won't go to 100. It'll be there. Okay. Yeah, Roger, EAP values vary significantly. It can do it if it's dry, you won't get much of reading. If it's too wet, you'll get a wrong reading. So it does take a lot of practice to get the EAP pens right. So now we're moving on to the B34. This is the new Optima Plus systematics. Now, what they did was Regomed have had a little bit of a change when they brought this new model out. Is they've tried to make it a lot simpler for therapists to get up and running and have great results. So now what we do there is we have weeks 1 to 5, I think it is, So ReggaMed are saying, do this week 1, do this week 2, so on, right through to, and it's great. I've gone through this with people that have got new machines, and it's just so simple because the instruction manual that will be available on the online courses is just takes you through it. It even tells you what colour leads to use and things like that. So basic therapy is week 1, exactly as we've just said, the extended basic therapies. And then we do elimination, which you'll notice these are like the step 3 of the older method. So the elimination program sequence is 10450, and that's made up of programs 430.2, 481, and 930.3. If you've got the 2000, it's program 430, 481, and 930. If you've got the 2000s, don't think that the 430.2 and the 930.3 is another program that you haven't got. That's not the case. The point and then the number, all that is a change of electrodes, but everything else is the same. The amplification, whether it's AI, what the wavelength is, the sweep speed, those are all identical. It's the same program. It's just that the electrodes change. So 430 is the program. It's irrelevant whether it's got a 0.2 on it. That just tells people with the Optimas where to put the electrodes. So that's week 1, or using the new systematics. Then what we'll go through now to the next one, which is week 2. Week 2 is where you do a basic therapy again using the second channel and using the DMI, but you do radiation stress on week 2, and that's program sequence 10451. And for 2000 users, program 700, 910, and 431. And for those with the Optima, you've got there the extra electrode placements. So that's week 2. So you're more or less getting the first 6 weeks with any patient spelled out here. So week 3, we do no basic therapy, but you do a Candida therapy, and that's program 10452, and that's 480 and 927. So we'll recognize those programs. And then the program 3413 is a 12-minute inversion using the Candida ampule. So put Candida in there and treat that. Now that shows what we've been saying all along on here, is that Candida is such an important thing to be able to get rid of. Here, ReggaMed are saying do it on week 3, even without testing, treat Candida. So obviously when that program's running and we're a bit confident, then we will test as we're running it. But week 3, treating Candida. Interesting, isn't it? And then we finish off on program 189 at the end of it. So what about week 4 then? Week 4, we do no basic again, but we do a wheat therapy. And before we do that, we do program sequence 10453 and program 701 and 910. And again, the inversion program is 3151. So what have we got in the input cup on that? Well, it's going to be wheat, isn't it? So we put wheat in that. And again, that's a 12-minute program, inverting wheat. Again, and then we use program 157 and 691 at the end. So can you guess what week 5 is going to be? We do exactly the same thing, but we're running milk. We're inverting milk. So we're treating wheat, milk, and Candida after the first 2 weeks. So this is based on experience from the 40 odd years that ReggaMed have been running these, getting feedback from therapists. And the way we can simplify what we do is by treating some of the main causes of illness. And those can be the Candida, fungal infections, It can be the wheat and it can be the milk. Intolerances, they're in so many things. That's so easy to do, and it's easy to teach somebody. So for all of you that have got new machines and you're struggling to test on, or you're feeling that you're getting stuck, don't be. Just follow these 2 options that we've laid down for you tonight. The basic steps 1 to 3. We didn't mention that step 4 would be just something like one of these, a candida treatment or a wheat allergy or a milk allergy. That's usually what we finish off on step 4. So let the BICOM do the work. That's the thing. We don't want to overthink it too much. The BICOM will pick up things that are going on with people. So yeah, good question, Arthur. You will find that certainly with candida, wheat and milk, that you need to do it a lot more regularly than just once. We've occasionally had people say to us that after that one treatment, all the sugar cravings went, or certainly reduced dramatically. That's because the candida has been dying off. We've had some people that have come out with spots and various other things because of the Herxheimer reaction. It's been stressing the body, so that is why it's important to make sure we open the elimination organs. But no, definitely it's going to be needed to be done more than once. Wheat and milk can be tough things to get rid of as well, as we've discussed before on the allergy webinars, that we need to get to the root cause of the problem as well, which is usually repairing the gut wall. So before allergies can be completely eliminated, the gut needs to be in a far healthier state as well. Roger mentioned digital. Is it digital wheat? Well, if you've got digital, then put it in. If you haven't got digital, then you've got a glass ampule. But what a lot of therapists do is they will use the wheat or the milk that's local to the area. So put a bit of wheat that the person eats regularly, a bit of the bread, or if they drink milk, put the milk in, and then you get in the real live product that they might have something that they're intolerant to in that. So that's important. So any more questions there? No, so could we have a bit of feedback from where people are at with the treatments and that they're doing? Do you feel that you can sometimes get a bit lost, or are you very confident? Do you have a set thing that you do every time people come to see you? Or if you're treating yourself at home, which I know some of you are on here, and not actually treating clients, do you wonder what to treat? Do you struggle with testing? Feedback would be good if you've got any questions there, or if you want to speak as well. Just click the little hand and we'll invite you into the room. So I mentioned a couple of minutes ago about not underestimating the power of the BICOM, and I'll give you an example of how the BICOM does pick up on things that we might not have been able to even find in our testing. So it happened where a lady came for treatment for hay fever, and within a couple of weeks we'd been able to completely stop her having a reaction to on a high pollen count day. Now, she was so bad that she couldn't even go outside when it was a high pollen count day, and we were able to eliminate it very quickly. And she actually invited us round for a barbecue in the summer because she was so excited about the fact that she didn't have hay fever anymore. Her husband was quite impressed, and one day when we're treating her, he said, "Can you treat athlete's foot?" And we said, "Well, yeah, we can do." He said, "Oh, well, I might book in for that." And anyway, the conversation continued, and he said, "Can you do anything for the prostate?" And so we asked questions about that, and then he said, "Can you do anything for your hands? Because I get terrible pain in my hands. Have done for 2 years. I've had it every day." So he says, "Well, I think the priority is the prostate." So he came back and we ran the steps 1 to 3 as we've described tonight: the basic therapy, allergy preparation, and then we did the elimination organs, and then we ran a 16-minute prostate program. So that afternoon he rang back and said, what did you do with my hand? And we said, well, we didn't run a treatment for your hand. And he said, well, it must be in my head then, but it's actually easing up. The pain seems to be going. The next day he rang back and he said, I can't believe it. He says, but the pain's completely gone. And I says, well, all it is the BICOM has picked something up and treated you. So don't underestimate the power of doing the basic therapies and the other two programs that we've discussed. So the BICOMs are wonderful machines, and if they're used correctly and people represent them correct in the right manner, then we can help lots and lots of people and hardly get any negative feedback or press. So that's about it for tonight. So we've got a few minutes spare. We've just got 10 minutes to go before the hour. Has anybody got any questions or requests at all that we can just discuss now? We've got 36 people in the room, which is not bad. So has anybody got any questions about the website that we've discussed or running those programs? So while you're all thinking about what to type, I'm just letting you know that tomorrow I'm flying off to Florida because I'm going to the Truth About Cancer Live event 2017. It's exactly the same one that I went to last year with Ty Bollinger. So that's going to be fun. So maybe next webinar I could fill you in with some of the news that I pick up there. If there's any sort of new therapies for cancer patients that have been launched in America, then I can share them with you. So thanks, Jenny. It'll be good. So Debbie, what does the basic do for normal energetic patients? Well, if you look at your program manual at the basic therapies, you'll see that it changes. So if somebody's got a conductance value between 90 and 100, then the basic therapies are AI. So they're inverting whatever's causing the person to have high energy. So if the cells are racing away, they're fighting something. So they probably have a virus or something like that. So the basic therapy is all AI. It's inverting all those pathogenic frequencies. If somebody's got normal energetic state, which is the question you've asked, then what it does is it looks for cells that are doing well, that are functioning correctly, and it strengthens them with the harmonious side, and then it just inverts the disharmonious frequencies. So it's a H plus DI is the normal energetic basic therapies. If somebody is below 72, then it's just harmonizing. It's not doing any inversion at all because they can't cope with things being inverted. So just have a look how those programs are structured, Debbie, and that will make it clear for you. So Gerard, how can I test myself with BICOM? Can I use my own blood? Absolutely. So what you do with that is you put a brass hand plate stood up next to your machine. It can be in a block of wood, or it can be just leaning on the machine with a red cable in it. And then about 6 inches away, you have like a bulldog clip or a little menu stand with your blood in it that's on a little swab. And then you tensor test between the brass plate and the blood sample. And if the tensor goes from side to side, then your body's responding to, yes, it wants that therapy. So just as you would do a normal thing. So it's not complicated. Just think that the blood that's in front of the plate is you or is the patient. They're just taking the place of the patient. So that's how you can test yourself, and it works very well. We do a lot of blood tests through the post. So people send in blood swabs to us, and we put the blood sample in front of the brass plate and then test for all sorts of things, food allergies and parasites and things like that. Yeah, and Jenny made a good point as well, that you can get a colleague to test you. Sometimes it's good as it takes away the mental, the possibility of using mental testing, you know, if you're testing yourself as well. So that is good. So is that it? Just 4 more minutes if you want to have any more questions. Certainly thanks for all the interaction tonight. It's been lively, and we've had a few technical hiccups. I couldn't play the movie that I was wanting to play, and in fact I will try and do it because we've got a few minutes. I'm going to turn off the screen sharing, and then I'm going to go back to videos, and let's see if I can start this again. I can see the video down here, but it's not actually making it full screen or anything. I don't think you guys can see it, can you? No, that's not showing. Farid has asked about I like to run an individual program where I test parameters, most often H and DI. Then I adjust the frequency manually while testing with the tens of rip out. Yeah, that's a good tip, Farida. Thanks for that. Okay, well, thanks for everybody's input, and thanks for all your questions. Yes, Roger, the video's going to be sent to you probably within 15 minutes of me turning it off. You'll get a link to the webinar replay. Then it'll be available for gold members whenever you want to use it. But also what we discussed in the basic therapies and then the systematics, they're all going to be in the next entry-level course, which is going to be very reasonably priced, if not free. So thank you everybody for joining, and I wish you all the best in your therapy. And if you need anything, I'm just here, David@bioresonance.com. If you need any questions answering, then we're always here. Or if you need anything in the way of products, servicing, and even if you're from America, Jen, we're able to support you in America as well. So take care, everybody, and keep well.